All right, so where domestic politics is concerned, viewers, it is exploding because at one end you have the principal opposition in the country, Congress. You've seen Sonia Gandhi has written an editorial opinion piece where she has taken on the government for maintaining abject silence when it comes down to the assassination of a world leader, saying, what if tomorrow our country is attacked? What face will we have? I want to cut across in the midst of all of this to former Law Minister, Foreign Minister, Mr. Salman Khurshid. We're going to cut across to him in just about a minute. Let's cut across first to Syed Zafar Islam, BJP, former Parliament member, Rajya Sabha member. Mr. Islam, today you stand accused, which is the government stands accused for maintaining complete silence on the taking down of an international leader and not saying a word despite the kind of long-standing friendship we have had with Iran.
See, first of all, you have to understand that Ayatollah Khamenei was not holding a constitutional position. He was a religious leader. He was known as a Ayatollah, and he was designated as a supreme leader, not on a constitutional position, but on a religious ground. So you have to also understand that every country has to be directed by or follow the national interest first, and we are just following the national interest first. Having said that, what is important for us that we are talking to every single country involved in this conflict, and we are only communicating one message, that India is advocating peace through dialogue and diplomacy, something which has been very clearly articulated by the Honorable Prime Minister in his tweet as well. And this is what we are communicating to every country. And today, I can see and on this program that even Iran has agreed to negotiate and discuss once again. They are willing to come to the negotiation table purely because they also feel that it is important to pursue diplomacy instead of having this kind of conflict. Secondly, what is important for Congress Party to realize that diplomacy is and foreign policy is a dynamic process, not a static process. What they had followed in 91 or 95, something cannot be followed. And similarly, you also remember during Arab Springs, many senior leaders, many leaders of Arab countries have been eliminated. That time, neither during Gaddafi nor even Saddam Hussein's time, any apologies or any condemnation or any tweet or message has been condemnation has been sent by the government of India at that point in time. So they have absolutely no leg to stand when it comes to diplomacy, because we are following what is important for us and we are following the nation first policy, and something which is important for us, we are doing that. As far as a country is concerned, we have the Honorable Prime Minister has spoken to every single country, but there is no leader in Iran, so he has not spoken. But the foreign ministers have spoken to both Israel and Iran and pursued the same thing, and they conveyed the message of the Prime Minister that we want diplomacy and dialogue should be prioritized instead of this kind of a conflict.
Syed Zafar Islam, in the year 1989, the Constitution of Iran was amended to recognize Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as the supreme leader. So in that context, the Constitution was revised. Number two, we have always interacted with Ayatollah Khamenei and there are visuals of that as well, with the Prime Minister meeting him as well. So it's not that we haven't recognized Iran under his leadership. We have, we've respected that. The question that today is being raised, that there is something called international law and international justice. What really has happened in Iran flies against international law. It has been recognized by certain countries, very vocally so, while Iran has been our friend. Why are we deterring from criticizing a world leader being assassinated today, despite negotiations being on?
Prati, let me ask you one thing very candidly. You know that there are 57 countries part of Organization of Islamic Countries. None of them have actually condemned. Why? They are Islamic countries. This is Muslim Brotherhood. They have not condemned purely because of the current dynamics and
But we are not one of them. But Zafar Islam, so why are we connecting the silence of certain Gulf countries to our relationship with Iran? We've had a very friendly relationship with Iran. We call Iran our friend. If that has changed, then that needs to be explicit.
Prissy, we continue to call them as our friend. There is absolutely no disconnect as far as the friendship goes with Iran. We are friend. We continue to be a friend, and that is why the foreign minister of our country had spoken to the foreign ministry of Iran, because we enjoy that kind of a relationship. But you also have to understand that one can play a limited role, and the role which has been primarily, which is important for every country, is something which is peace, and that is something which the honorable prime minister is advocating, and that is that is what the message which has been conveyed through foreign minister to the foreign minister of Iran, that we want dialogue.
But Mr.
And
Islam, why
diplomacy,
cannot
not
the
the
message
conflict.
of peace be delivered at the same time of criticizing an international leader's
Didn't he
assassination?
criticize? Didn't he criticize in the first tweet when the honorable prime minister sent first tweet? And he did mention, and the message of the government was very clear.
Where did he
That
criticize, sir?
no, the message of the government was very clear. The first message, which went from our government, very, very clearly, that we recognize the sovereignty of every country, and that's something which needs to be respected. Something which is, this is what you are talking about, and this is what the message which has been given by the government of India. So where is the question of not acknowledging the fact that every country sovereignty is important, and something which needs to be respected, something which we have already stated.
Okay, so you're saying, that even though the foreign minister has spoken, we somewhere down the line in a veiled way suggested that sovereignty needs to be respected, but we haven't outrightly come out and criticized an international leader's assassination, which goes against international law and all sorts of conventions, primarily because we need to watch out for our own interest. Is that what you're saying?
No, all I'm saying that you cannot equate the situation what it was 20 years ago or 15 years ago or 10 years ago. You have to see the current dynamics, and you know that the foreign policy is a very dynamic process. It cannot be static.
But Mr. Islam, I'll quote out of Ms. Gandhi's piece. I'll quote out of Ms. Gandhi's piece, because she's seemingly suggesting that our silence is abdication of our responsibility, because if tomorrow there is somebody at our doorstep and there is an aggressor where India is concerned, where do we stand? With what face do we condemn that if we can't condemn this?
No, but Mrs. Gandhi, before making this kind of a statement or criticism against the government, she should do a backtesting and must tell the people that during UPA, when she was the chairperson, what did they do? Did they criticize, condemn about Saddam Hussein when he was hanged? Did they condemn when Gaddafi was eliminated? Did they do when any other Arab leaders were eliminated during Arab Springs? No, they didn't do anything. So how do they making this kind of a statement or making this kind of suggestion to our government? They followed certain diplomatic process, what they feel appropriate at that point in time. We are following now what is important for the country. So we have to always prioritize the country's interest, not an individual suggestion or
all right. Mr. Islam, let me ask exactly that. I thank you for joining us. There's a reason why we did not get into a debate this evening, primarily because we wanted to get both lucid thoughts out with what the government stands and with what the opposition is claiming. These are very sensitive times, diplomatically so. Thank you for taking the time out and answering all our questions.